He's fighting for these straights. So the fact that LGD were able to just take 4 straight on the trot is a bit of a worrying sign.
Yep, and now getting into draft, I mean, this time around, LGD sticking with banning those 2 signature Teacherma champions in the Karma and the Galio. Syndra still open as WE, maybe just think, hey, it's not a problem. Maybe we'll be the ones to pick it again, or even if they give it over to xiye, they don't really mind.
Yeah, I mean, the big ban towards xiye this split, or this series, sorry, has been this Twisted Fate that we've seen banned by WE in both games in this series now. The Volibear removed.
I mean, we've seen LGD first pick Twisted Fate on blue side, so it is a champion that they love. Now I want to see where LGD goes. Do they first pick the Ashe themselves? Do they want to keep Peanut on the Graves? 10.14 feels very wide open with where you can go with first picks.
It's going to be the Graves here for Peanut, and you know what? After game number 1, looking as good as it did for Peanut, it doesn't surprise me too much that they just want to get him some comfort.
It's also Beishang's most played champion as well, so it's also a takeaway. Pairs well with the meta bot lanes as we talked about and like we saw last game. And now WE doing what we've seen them do before. When they start losing, they start putting Morgan on the Ornn. They're going to get to a point where, hey, we're going to be able to force these team fights. We have Call of the Forge God. Everything's going to go our way.
They're just like, all right, guys, we lost game 1. Time to lock in some signature picks here because Jiumeng gets the Ashe as well, which is something we see time and time again. He has played it 11 times this split, but it also removes it from Kramer because it has been somewhat of a comfort for Kramer with Ezreal and Aphelios off the board, but Ezreal is available.
Yes, it is. Obviously, it did get nerfed. We are seeing more teams shy away from it. Even Kramer himself has been someone who's gone towards the Jhin numerous times this matchup. We've actually seen him pick it up 3 times. Did look pretty good in lane on it every single time we've seen it. Still will pair quite well with the Bard. And we could see a very similar composition come out from LGD this game. Obviously, the thing about Jhin here is there is an Ornn on the other side. You are not a tank buster, so that would be a bit scary. But I like this even more. We get xiye on the Syndra.
Yeah, we get the Syndra for xiye. It's his most played of the split, and he looks damn good on it as well. Teacherma, though, not an Echo player, typically speaking, so I'm curious what on earth he's going to do in the mid lane, but it's Teacherma, so there's a lot of picks that he's likely to pick into matchups that you don't really know. You know, he likes to go in different directions like the ASOL or the Rumble. That's
the thing is, he doesn't really have any great champions left up into it because his 2 best would be Karma and Galio because they can both kind of neutralize the matchup in a sense. Both are banned. Now here, LGD, if I was him, just hammer home more bans on Teacherma. Ban out the ASOL because we've seen him be willing to play that into the Syndra before. Then maybe ban out the Rumble as well. And then guess what? He's going to pull out something like a Nocturne or who even knows, more of an obscure champion. Even the set is something that Teacherma plays in the mid lane, and that's banned as well.
Yeah, Rumble banned away here. That's a Teacherma ban. Let's bear in mind, this was the strategy from Top Esports when they beat WE back in playoffs in spring, was just ban all of Teacherma's champions, pick ourselves the Syndra, and watch WE flounder. Sylas being banned away here from WE as well.
I'm actually kind of surprised at that one because so they're banning away Langx Sylas. Of course, they did draft the Ornn. It's something we've seen before, but still not something Langx has picked up yet this split. Not something he plays much in solo queue either.
You can see the respect towards Kramer's Ezreal there as well. We mentioned it before. So now Kramer will be forced on something very likely, the Jhin that we talked about before, or just into stuff that he's played either one game of or very few games of for the rest of this split. Now into the picks is Nautilus taken off the board away from Missing.
Yeah, Missing could just go Thresh here. Leona would also be a very interesting pickup, so something he's done quite well on in the past.
I mean, when we talk about WE, we talk about getting hard engaged. Leona certainly answers that.
Exactly, and we saw last game, right? We said the issue was, hey, they don't actually have any hard engage. It is all a bit skill-based, so this time around they're making sure, hey, we don't have that problem. And again, now the big question mark is where does Teacherma go with mid lane? Does he just default back to the Aurelion Soul, which is the second most played champion this split?
I don't know, is the answer. I'm just going to wait and see where Teacherma goes, because he knows ASOL's matchups a lot better than I do. I'd imagine he doesn't do too hot into Syndra, though. Kramer does go with Jhin. Doesn't do too bad?
No, it doesn't do too bad. We've actually seen him pick it up before into the Syndra. But he actually hasn't looked as hot on the Syndra this... not the Syndra, on the Aurelion Soul this split, which is a bit surprising. But, yep, as you mentioned, we see Kramer going towards the Jhin, which, I mean, Leona and Ornn on the other side, a bit tanky. Going to be interesting to see if he can deal with those. and Langx once again going back towards the Renekton, so a lot more early game power for LGD this time around, but still very much a similar pick comp that we saw last game. Kind of out of both sides, but mostly out of WE. And yep, there's the A-Soul.
It's going to be that A-Soul for Teacherma. So something he's played 4 times this split. As you can see, it's got a 25% win rate. And that is pretty much exclusively, in fact, it is exclusively Teacherma. He's won 1 of the 4 games that he's played on it, so he's hoping to up that to a 40% win ratio in this game up against the Syndra. I'm excited, though, about Langx on this Renekton once more. We get to see the carries out of Langx.
Yes, we do, and now, once again, LGD... I mean, this time around, actually, was opposite. Last time, it's Peanut who has 3 lanes you could potentially play around. Not necessarily bot, I guess, but you can play around bot in the sense of you linking up with Mark and looking elsewhere. You have set up in the mid lane with Scout of the Week. Renekton extremely strong, as we saw last time around. So now, Peanut on the Graves does have some prio so he can play around.
He certainly does. Peanut going to be looking to try and get into these lanes, and I wouldn't be too surprised to see Peanut get a bit of revenge for the first blood beishang executed onto xiye in game number 1. Maybe look towards the mid lane and shut Teacherma down, because that's exactly what we saw out of LGD in game number 1. We saw them repeatedly diving onto Teacherma. Now he's on something like the A-Soul. A-Soul does not have much in the way of self-defense in the early game.
No, he does not. The great thing about A-Soul, and ever since his mini rework, he's extremely strong at level 1 because of the way his W expands quickly. We typically see Teacherma run Electrocute in this matchup, so you have some very strong trading. You're still going to get some easy prio in the laning phase, and you can start to make plays elsewhere. The thing we've seen with Teacherma this split on the Aurelion Soul is he hasn't been able to find any plays around the side lanes. He typically just goes to lane, push out the wave, kind of hovers to bot, looks for something, but WE aren't able to set anything up. And the Gyro's coming through.
Continue your thought, Lyric. Not able to set anything up in the bot lane when he hovers.
Exactly, but I guess the interesting thing this time is, you know, we haven't really seen him play the A-Soul since this Ashe combo has been in the meta, so now at least you have the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. I mean, we have a ton of lockdown from the Leona as well, so this could set up really well for Teacherma to deal all this damage, and he does go towards that Electrocute like we talked about.
Yeah, goes for the Infernal skin as well, so extra bonus damage. Oh, wait, no, that's not how that works. I wish that was how that worked.
Extra
Actually,
confidence?
No, I don't wish that was how that worked at all.
What are you saying?
I don't know. I take it back. Oh, God. Well, the Colonel likes LGD's comp, that's for sure.
I saw the other day where someone asked, why was Aurelion Soul originally nerfed? And someone linked a clip of who he ganking bot at level 1 at Worlds. And it's like, this is why. The fact that you could push lane and gank at level 1 is insane.
Yeah, it was a little bit not okay.
It was against the Rocks Tigers, but I'm not quite positive who it was against.
That's the thing about... I love that you remember even that much about A-Soul as a pick. The fact that I mentioned A-Soul mid and you're like, here is the list of information I could spiel off about the way that Teacherma specifically plays A-Soul. Here are some historic A-Soul clips that I could give you. Like, I don't know how you have this kind of encyclopedia in between your eyes, but...
I'm just saying, on my business card, you know, the Shahu Apologist business card, there is a little A-Soul logo, so... Ooh.
I don't believe you, and Peanut doesn't either. He's got a red buff. Teacherma forced to flash, but he's already going to be slowed. There's no way out of this one. Goodbye, Teacherma. Hello, First Blood.
He almost pulled it off with the fancy footwork, but hey, we mentioned in Champ Select, Peanut has a lot more lanes he could play around this time around, and this is what happens when you give Peanut those options.
And you know what? You talked about A-Soul shoving the wave out at level 1. Teacherma does exactly that and is heavily punished for it.
Yeah, now not going to be fun. Now Shay going to have control of this wave, can look for trades onto Teacherma, but still overall great start from LGD, and maybe potentially not too bad for WE as we've highlighted their win rate behind at 15 minutes.
Yeah. They look amazing when they are ahead at 15 minutes, but they have an almost 50% win rate when behind. So it's more a matter of they don't get ahead in the first 15 minutes that often. It's usually around the mid-game that they'll find their win conditions and find the spikes to fight around. I am curious what beishang is going to be up to during this early game, though, because once again, he's on this Lee Sin. You can be aggressive in the early game.
Yeah, and the thing for him this time around is you can try to set up something bot lane, but the thing that jumps out to me about WE's comp specifically, beishang.
Yeah, Kramer's going to spot this one out. He's just going to steal a Krog for now as beishang hops over the wall. Q lands though.
Oh,
Kramer's
wow.
in trouble here. Slowed down. Cripple not going to follow through, but there's a Zenith Blade straight onto Kramer, gets the cleanse. beishang not willing to follow through and commit onto this one. They are going to be able to crash his minion wave underneath the tower here. They're going for the dive. There's a flash stun. Kramer gets underneath the tower for himself, and he will survive this one as Langx looks to clean things up. beishang kept alive, but missing falls. So does the other one. And now Teacherma's in trouble in the mid lane as well. It's all going wrong for WE.
They're losing everywhere on the map. Overall, though, beautiful play from LGD in the bot lane to pretty much just dissuade that dive. Great job of them tracking beishang, even initially invading the Krugs with that ward, and then Langx with the clutch TP to now, 4-0 for the side of LGD.
And you know what? LGD come into this one and say, oh, your early game's not the strongest in the league? Well, we're going to bully you and make sure you know that your early game is not the strongest. Peanut looking amazing, just hard ganking in the mid lane and reading what beishang is able to get away with. Langx as well, with the kind of teleport that we know Morgan for.
Yeah, great TP from him, and still, this was something that Langx was very good on when he was on RNG last year, so great to see from him. And this is just LGD abusing the fact that they had already gotten Teacherma's flash. We saw xiye hitting a lot of these skill shots, and overall, just great play from him, and now going to come back to lane with the Lost Chapter, so going to be safe with that mana, going to have a bit of an item advantage, and they could potentially just look to abusing Teacherma on the Asol.
And this mid lane matchup is starting to feel real rough for WE fans, because we saw Teacherma playing the Syndra at last game, and it's not like LGD had to ban the Echo. This is pure champion pool issues for the side of WE.
Yeah, this is just what happens when you see Teacherma get banned out. Doesn't really have too much in his wheelhouse, and Peanut now abusing beishang in his jungle, and this is what you get to do when you have constant mid lane prio, now from a 2-0 Syndra.
Yeah, rough start here for WE, it has to be said.
And Aurelion Sol falls in that category of champions that if you can't push your lane, you just feel utterly useless. It's your one purpose in the game.
I feel like that is Teacherma's entire champion pool in a nutshell, right? He doesn't want to fight, he wants to shove the lane and go elsewhere. And xiye is basically this entire series, he said, that ain't happening, you're staying here in the mid lane with me.
Yeah, he is just keeping him under turret like that, and WE not going to be able to find...
Oh my goodness, yet more plays out of LGD. This early game is not going without a fight. Jiumeng falls and missing nothing he could do to stop them.
No, and LGD being so proactive, we said that, hey, they're a really strong early game team, but seeing something like this is really amazing. We don't typically see them, 5 kills in 6 minutes.
Honestly, to me, it is reassuring as well, because let's bear in mind, this is the team that had a couple of losses on the trot to Suning and JDG, had a really rough series against OMG, then lost to Rogue Warriors 0-2. They managed to finally get back on the bike against EDG, finally find their footing again, and now against WE, another team that is high up in the standings alongside them. To have a commanding performance like this is so reassuring that this is going to be a playoff team. This is going to be a contender when it comes to the end of summer.
They'll be tied with WE if they do take this series. Going to be looking really good, but I do want to say the loss to Rogue Warriors is understandable. I've already dubbed Rogue Warriors are going to be the top esports of the second half of the regular season. They're going to go on an 8-game win streak.
I don't know about that one, Chief. Missing started a fight in the bottom lane here, but immediately regretting starting a fight in the bottom lane as well. Yeah, I don't know. Rogue Warriors, they're exciting. I love casting Rogue Warriors. I'm not as faithful in the win streak as you are, Larry.
And this is why the teams that you support, like LNG, sit at the bottom of the table.
I don't support LNG.
Your faith isn't strong enough. Rogue Warriors, if you're listening to this English cast, I believe in you.
Well, that's all it takes. I will say, as a commentator, I am entirely impartial.
You just said you don't support LNG.
biases towards teams like WE. I have no... well, I'm not saying I don't... I'm not saying I dislike LNG. I'm just saying I'm completely neutral towards them.
Not me. I'm not neutral to anyone.
No?
There's bias all over all of these casts.
Especially with RNG in the picture.
Exactly.
And we're all biased towards V5. Because let's be honest, they're the most excited thing to happen in a long old while. Well, actually, that's not even true, because top esports. Teacherma, I'm not going to lie, he tanked that like a champ. He took barely any damage from the ult.
It didn't look like she had that many spears down. Also, the Null Magic Mantle coming out for Teacherma. So, we're not at the stage where she's just going to outright blow him up.
Which is good news for Teacherma.
Yes,
because
it is.
we've been at that stage basically the whole game so far.
We were at that stage in Game 1 for pretty much all game as well.
I'm honestly kind of impressed that Teacherma is even in CS right now, considering he's died twice in this lane. Xie's had just free roam this entire time.
Yeah, I guess the good thing for him is both times he died, his wave wasn't really placed in an awkward position, was able to easily get back to lane and not really miss out on any CS. And looks like LGD want to come contest this Herald, but I think WE will probably finish it before they can even react.
Xiye does have teleport available, but obviously with his ult on cooldown as well. I don't know if this is necessarily the fight. They reckon it is, because the TP channel here by Xiye, they're going to be a little late to the play, though. Morgan is happy to go for this one. WE want to turn things around, knock up on a couple of members, and down goes Xiye. Down goes the big bounty. And now onto Langx as well. What a kick out of beishang, but he's completely on his own. It looked good, but not good enough. And Langx somehow gets a kill onto the enemy mid laner. He's going to be chased down by the rest of the squad, but he's surviving for a long old while here. The follow-up from LGD. This is beautiful before my eyes. And Kramer should easily finish this one off with a curtain call. No. Langx cuts him down.
And overall, this is just a slaughter for the side of LGD so far. Honestly, that fight was almost perfect, a bit miscoordinated, but my eyes were on Langx the whole time. He popped Dominus, was over the wall, used the blasting plant, was already right in the back line of WE. Nothing they could do at that point.
And the thing that we always compliment for WE is the coordination. It was not here. beishang on a totally different page to the rest of the team.
Yes, he was. And like I said, look here at Langx. Already popped the Dominus, came over, was directly in the back line. Had Xiye waited a bit sooner to go aggressive, I feel like all of LGD could have lived. Still, beautiful slice and dice coming out from Langx. And like you pointed out here, I can't even believe he survived this long. But Mark flashing in gives him the Guardian. And is going to be able to secure this last kill as well.
So beautiful from Langx as well. We saw beishang jump in over to try and do a similar thing to LGD. Got a really great kick, but we could see the entire rest of WE was busy trying to deal with this giant crocodile who's now got a black cleaver on top of everything else. This is starting to already get really difficult for WE. They're almost 4,000 gold down.
Yeah, I mean, this game... This game's not looking good, and sure, LGD do have a lot of early game-centric champions, right? They have the Jhin, they have the Renekton, but still, it feels like we're just going to go full force forward for the side of LGD and can quickly start stacking up some Drakes. I mean, we're going to get an Infernal Rift or a Mountain Rift, so both being pretty good for the side of LGD.
Yep, they're going to be happy with that one. Do you know what? If this is the way that LGD is going to play for the rest of the split, I'm up for watching more LGD games because I was a little unsure about them halfway through. We were getting a bit of inconsistency. We weren't really sure. They seem to be changing styles and whatnot. This aggressive early play is beautiful to watch, and the coordination, the sheer mechanics as well during these team fights, just spectacular.
Yeah, been really amazing to watch, and we do see WE trying to answer with the play on the top side, but it looks like Mark and Xiye are heading up there now to try to contest. Xiye did finally pick up the GLP, so it's going to have a lot more threat to land the Scatter of the Weak.
We're going to see Tempered
Fate.
Just a tiny little bit late on that one. WE will be able to grab themselves the tower up on the top side here. And that's actually quite a big mistake from Mark because he literally loses the entire tower.
Yeah, overall, going to be a bit of gold for the side of WE, and LGD aren't in a place where they can answer. And I mean, this is what you need for WE. Actually, I don't want to downplay this because, right, they still have the Ornn, they still have the Leona.
Do they have the Ornn? Because Morgan is getting chased down on the bottom side. Langx doesn't have flash, already used the slice and dice. And Morgan will walk away with his life.
And Morgan to me, Morgan and Missing are the members we're going to need to rely on because I said Jhin and Renekton, but even Syndra isn't much of a tank buster. So if they can get to a place where WE has a really strong front line, they can start hoping to try to come out in these 5v5s. But I don't think we're going to hit that point until, let's say, like 3 items. And right now, LGD are still completely in the driver's seat.
Yeah, I mean, as you said before, we're in a similar position compositionally to where we were in Game 1, right? Where there was a lot of damage from WE if they could get onto squishy targets, and LGD had drafted squishy targets, but there was no world where WE could win the fights at that point because LGD was so damn far ahead. And it feels like we're looking at a similar theme here in Game 2.
And I mean, very similar in the sense, too, that LGD are just picking up all of these dragons for free. And that shield and even the increased resistance is going to be really great when your two sources of damage for WE are an Aurelion Soul and an Ashe, neither really insane late-game DPS champions.
And not to mention that Kramer, while he knows that it's the late game where he'll really come online, goes for the Storm Razor, so during all of these mid-game fights, he's going to spike a little bit earlier. He's going to be able to do a whole bunch of damage. A similar story for xiye as well, going for that cheaper first iron.
Yeah, and the GLP on Syndra is one I really favor. Again, much cheaper than the Ludens, 400 gold cheaper. And the thing is, it feels like it increases your threat so much with how easy it can set up your stun that I'd say I take that over the extra damage you get from Ludens almost every time.
And that is why you're not Silver. Because damage is king in Silver, my friend. Let me tell you, you're not worthy.
True. We talked about this once. Who needs wards and vision when you could be buying damage?
Yeah, you don't need to worry about where they are if they're dead. And Langx might join them in the death realm here.
Oh,
but that
Mark!
Tempered Fate from Mark is magnificent. Langx surviving under the tower. Oh my days, the Call to Meek doing so much work. WE are somehow surviving all of this though. No worries apparently.
Still though, I mean, Teacherma completely flopped his ultimate. Langx survived so. You just wasted so much time bot side. You got to kill, but ultimately, was it worth it? I'm not sure, honestly. Lost a TP, lost a bunch of ultimates.
Lost the tower in the top lane as well.
You're going to lose some. I guess you're not losing much CS and EXP.
Oh, hang on. We got a TP coming through here. I believe it's from xiye. As they want to contest this blue buff, missing incredibly low, and Mark knows it. Support combat in the bottom lane. Kramer and Mark gonna go for a dive here. Mark happy to tank this one up as missing has a stopwatch and ruins the play entirely. Teacherma wants to protect his support. There's a TP being channeled as well, but it's too little too late. They're already dead, and the TP is wasted from Morgan. Now Peanut found alone in the jungle here. Jiumeng wants to follow up as well. Crystal Arrow is going to be able to call down beishang. Low on this one as Peanut gets into the jungle. Morgan misses the knock-up as well as Kramer gets a couple of shots out. Now Morgan has to flash away. Langx has respawned and moved back into the play, and yet another chaotic team fight goes the way of LGD.
I mean, this has been going on for like the past 2 minutes since that bot lane play. It's never stopped. We had enough time for Langx to get dove under turret, respawn, walk all the way back up to topside, TP in, and I mean, this is how it all ended. So LGD gonna pick up some more kills, going to also get this turret, and again, 5k gold lead, 2 dragons up, next dragon spawns in 45 seconds. I want to see if WE even can test Drake, or if they accept, hey, we're too far behind, we need to go towards Rift Herald. I feel like that's the right choice, but with WE, you just really never know.
I'm excited to see what their choice will be, honestly. But, you know, you mentioned that 5k gold lead. That is going to be incredibly difficult to get back from. You can see it on the left of your screen. The 4 carries of LGD, and yes, I say 4 because Peanut definitely counts as a carry. They're all way ahead of their opponents. WE now. I mean, these fights have just been disastrous for them. They started all of that. They got 1 kill out of it.
Yeah, that was not the play. And they did devote so much. Overall, starting with a great Tempered Fate from Mark, who once again has Tempered Fate.
Well, WE, as you rightly said, Lyric, they're not really interested in a Rift Herald. They want themselves this Dragon Face. I'm going to try and burst this down alongside Jiumeng and Morgan. Morgan has the Call of the Forge God. I don't know if this is winnable, though. Langx is the target here as they start off onto the Croc, knock up onto the rest of the team, and Langx has to just try and get away. He will be the first one to go down. Great Tempered Fate from Mark, and now the follow-up from the rest of the squad. The damage is easily there, and Kramer has a shooting range before him, but he misses the 4th shot. Peanut now getting into this one, but beishang shuts him down. Jiumeng takes 1 as he falls. Somehow it's 3 for 3.
And overall, the thing that kept this fight close was the great CC coming out from Jiumeng, Missing, and Morgan. Because we saw the 3-man core of LGD CC'd for so long, Mark couldn't Tempered Fate in time to try to save Langx. Had Langx been able to be in that fight with his team, would have been a completely different story.
That was so damn close, but still, LGD coming out at least even.
And it's right there as you see. We see Enchanted Crystal Arrow into Leona ultimate, into Call of the Forge God, onto the 3-man core of LGD. So not able to go in and help Langx in time. Still, though, they are so far ahead that once they do get out of the CC, they land the Tempered Fate, they have enough damage to burst out a lot of key members from WE, and it does end up a 3 for 3.
Damn, I can't believe they got 2 kills at the end there as well. And now we rinse and repeat on this dragon fight. Cooldowns on both sides, though, when it comes to these ultimates. So be careful, because Morgan does not have that Call of the Forge God. It's such a crucial ability. Stun from the Scatter of the Weak, not going to be followed up on here. Langx on the flank. Morgan knows it, though, and he's going to just try and stop this proc getting into the play. But WE, they're being forced out of this one, and Morgan just annihilated. This is LGD's for the taking.
And this is a big difference from LGD to a lot of other teams, is you'll see a lot of other teams to try to continuously force the play. Maybe I'm speaking too soon.
Oh my god, they're forcing the play. Jiumeng slowed. That's 2 shots. The 4th one is just going to go wide because Mark got the stun and he wanted the kill for himself. Missing as well. Can't get out of this one, and LGD just look amazing.
And I love it too, because right, they get the kill, but they say, hey, we're here for an objective. We're taking this dragon first. They notice, hey, the opportunity's still there, and they continue to go forward.
And you know what? Just as you say, LGD aren't going to bite off more than they can chew. They're like, hang on a second, look at the clock. It's 19 minutes in. We got to get 19 kills.
The great thing, though, was, right, it wasn't more than they could chew. They didn't go for that all-in before getting the dragon and, you know, having a bad position. They realized, hey, we're going to get the dragon. They funnel upwards. They say, hey, we still have the Jhin ultimate. We're going to open that one up. We have the tunnel coming in from Bard. Let's see if we can get more. They're able to get more. And once again, sitting on Soul Point, sitting with an 8K gold lead. And when we think about avenues that WE has back into this game, I feel like we're past that point. Like, we were talking about, hey, trading Dragon for Rift Herald, trying to find gold elsewhere, getting your front line to a point where it's strong and can hopefully survive the burst from LGD's side. Well, we are far past that point now, WE fans.
This is, I don't know. I don't have any consoling words for WE fans at this point in the game, because just look at the scoreboard. I mean, there isn't a single member at LGD that isn't incredibly fed.
And for WE fans, Munchables really is like the leader of the WE fan club. If he doesn't have the hopeful words, I don't know if there are.
I don't know what to tell you. Not even the Colonel can get behind him.
No, Colonel not feeling good about WE.
Although I will say, the Colonel, very much a matter of confirmation bias from him. Like, he sees someone winning slightly, and he's like, all right, I give up. You're going to get the whole game.
That is how the Colonel typically does sit on the fence with a lot of these plays.
The flip-flop king, if you will. Loves the beach. We are going to see WE, though. Here's the thing that I love about WE, right? It doesn't really matter to them that they're almost 10,000 gold behind. Nope. They're still going to fight for the next objective.
Yes, they will. They are very much like IG-esque in that manner. Rogue Warriors.
Rogue Warriors-esque, I think, yeah.
Like, there are these teams that it doesn't matter if they're behind your head. The only way they know is forward. And they will continuously go forward, but that's why we love watching them.
We certainly do. That W key, their friend. Although it doesn't really work as well in League of Legends. If you do have W bound to forward in League of Legends, you really should consider your choices in life and maybe unbind that. WE, missing, sorry, is going to be able to dodge the route in the end. LGD, I'm honest, could just start Baron at any point.
Yeah, they could. They could just try to bait that out, force Morgan to TP, even look for an engage onto the members of WE, because, I mean, we look at the damage from Kramer, xiye, even Peanut, like you said. I mean, they hit one Scatter of the Weak, they open up the Jhin ultimate, get the slow. It feels like they're easily able to start confirming these kills.
So LGD feeling pretty good. And you know what? I'm excited for LGD, because the big thing that coming into this series I was expecting from them was that they would be really good in the early game and they would fall off a little bit in the mid game. Maybe make some poor decisions, maybe just kind of throw a game away. And, you know, they are still in the mid game technically. That is still possible, but they have such a huge lead and they've done so well in both of these early games back to back that I'm so convinced that moving towards playoffs, and this is going to be a playoffs team, I'm expecting this to be replicatable against other top teams.
And the thing that's going to be very telling is, you know, in 1 minute and 50 seconds.
Ooh,
or now.
Goes wide here onto Kramer. They don't quite be able to finish that one off, but it's going to be Mark that goes down here. One pick for WE. Jiumeng gets out with his life as well.
If you don't know why we say that beishang is the critical member for WE, that is exactly why. That is the only play you could find to hope to get a kill in this situation. That's it. That's the one. And they find it, and great job from them. Ultimately, Mark will still be up in time for Dragon, and it feels like that will be the, you know, the final straw for WE if LGD can get that one. That's what you really need to prevent.
And the kick just, tiny little bit wide of getting Kramer where they wanted him. Had that kick been on Kramer, maybe they can open the map up a little bit more. Maybe they can make something happen off the back of it. As it stands, it's just going to be the one kill, and it's just going to be onto the support. So not as good of a pick as they would have wanted, but hey, when you're this far behind, a pick is a pick is a pick. You take that.
I agree, and going into this fight, it's going to be extremely hard for them. I mean, realistically, they're going to need some massive AoE combo onto all the carries of LGD, and they don't have that massive AoE combo. I mean, Teacherma is extremely far behind. Even Jiumeng only sitting on 2 items, compared to Kramer's pretty much 3.
So now Dragon on the map. Once again, if you're just joining us, if you've not been aware of how far ahead LGD have been this entire game, they're on 3 Drakes. This would be their soul.
Almost 10k gold up.
Yeah, they're feeling pretty good. They're feeling pretty strong. And WE are on the last legs trying to contest, trying to stop this soul from happening. Teacherma on his A-Soul has to go into Galactic on this fight. Morgan managing to dodge most of the CC there on the follow-up. beishang obviously is Lee Sin. He's only 1 level down, so still plenty of opportunity to potentially steal. Langx, though, with the Dominus, looks like he wants to start a fight. Morgan can't quite get the second ram, and Langx will survive for now. Morgan goes down. In fact, his both top laners traded. Now missing will be the target here as Peanut steps on forward, trying to finish off another play. Oh, the damage on the 4th shot. Great block by beishang. Stops the auto onto his support. In the meantime, though, his carry is going down. Teacherma falls as well. Missing. You may have got out with your life, but you got out without a team. Smoke screen comes down. Peanut just going to get a quick draw in to chase it and finds one last kill.
Yeah, overall great fight coming out from LGD. We saw it took everything to kill Langx. The rest of WE members left with nothing, pretty much left floundering around. LGD able to catch them out on both sides, especially with xiye and Kramer finding kills onto Jiumeng and Teacherma. And there we go. That's the Mountain Soul.
That's going to be the soul. And I want to just give some props here quickly to xiye, because he's not been the guy we're talking about in most of the fights, because he's able to just sit back and just blast out damage. But look at the damn scoreline. He's got 14 stacks on his mid-jais. He's on 3 items. The man is a monster when he gets the Syndra. Exactly.
Looked amazing. And that fight was the exact type of fight Syndra thrives in, where enemies are just sitting right in front of you in a choke. Very easy to hit those scatter of the weaks and dish out all the damage. And xiye is making it look effortless. And yeah, here's exactly what we talked about. WE are the ones to start it off. Mark not hitting a great Tempered Fate. Langx goes in, but as we said, the damage really not there. They're trying to put it down. They do end up bursting him out in the end, but pretty much everything's been used by WE. Does still look like Teacherma has his ultimate available. We see that the 2 sides of LGD separate, with xiye and Kramer going in. Flash ult onto Jiumeng, and then all the bursts coming out onto Teacherma.
I love how that was a 2v2 between the carries there. It's like the mid and AD carry just go head to head, and when you've got a 10k gold lead, there's only one way that's ever going to go.
Yep, and we can see the damage right there. I mean, Kramer dealing double Jiumeng's damage in that last fight. I mean, even Peanut, right? Oh, doing so much more than beishang, which is what you'd expect of a Fed Graves at this point against the Lee Sin, who is kind of behind.
Yeah, I mean, none of it is unexpected, right? But it's still important. Oh, scatter of the week onto Jiumeng there, but he gets down with his life. And this is what I said about WE. They're still going to contest. They're not going to let you get this Baron without a fight. Will they win the fight? Absolutely not. But they're still going to fight you.
I still love what they do, right? Just continuously look for these fights. The enemy's not going to expect it. Hope some kind of misplay
comes. Look at Mystic right now. The magical journey appears, and he stands right next to the entrance like, whoever comes out, I'm going to stun you. There's nothing you can do about it. Morgan's the next one. Gets out with his life for now, but we've got 4 shots from the curtain call coming on through, and Peanut's over the wall with the collateral damage as well. Easy snipe comes through from Kramer. They don't need the Baron. They might just be able to end the game here as another one goes the way of xiye. That's his 24th stack on the Mejai's now. And he wants another one. beishang just about gets on into the base. And this one's over, Lyric.
Exactly. 30-second death timers on the members of WE. You still have a bunch of cooldowns up for LGD as well. You're going to be able to find this quite easily. And great convincing performance.
And, you know, I was expecting WE to show up a little bit more in this one, as they're just going to get slaughtered on the fountain. But LGD, what a way to do it. They kept up their kills per minute. 28-minute game and 28 kills to boot.
And it